So good afternoon and happy Halloween. And welcome you all to our 4th annual freshman convocation. And at this time I would like to invite one of our former alum, Natalia Perlis, to come up and sing the national anthem.
So proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Natalia. And at St. Thomas, we always begin everything with prayer, so I'd like to invite Monsignor Terrence Hogue and please come and lead us in our invocation.
I would ask you now to join me in silence and in prayer as we bow our heads. Creator, God of the universe, we pray especially for all gathered here today, but in particular for our students. Give them enthusiasm and inspiration so that at each and every moment they may be filled with energy and with joy and a love for learning. May they have the courage to open new doors that lead into the unknown. Guard their hearts, their minds with your love and kindness, so that each and every student will be an extraordinary example to all whom they meet, by being strong in spirit against the evils of bigotry, hatred, prejudice. Lord, let them trust in you, so that even in the midst of loneliness, and suffering, and difficulties, and frustrations, they will turn to you, and you will inspire each and every decision they make. And finally, let them come to know your goodness and your love, that they may walk this journey of their lives, knowing you are with them and you are always with us. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated now, and I invite Alfredo Garcia, the interim provost and chief academic officer at St. Thomas University, to the podium.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, distinguished faculty, deans, members of the Student Government Association, and most of all, students and family and friends to the St. Thomas University 4th Annual Freshman Convocation. Today is a day of celebration, a most special day as we welcome our freshman class to St. Thomas University. By welcoming you to the family of St. Thomas, you begin an incredible journey, one that will help you reach your goals and become our motto, a leader for life. Here at St. Thomas, we'll provide you not only with the academic preparation to succeed, but also the spiritual and emotional nurturing to achieve your goals. I am confident that at the end of your journey here, you will achieve what will make you a leader for life. In your local, in the national, and in the global community. Open your hearts and your minds to new ideas and be ready for this new adventure in your lives. Welcome, class of 2022. Now it is my honor, privilege, and pleasure to introduce to you President David A. Armstrong. Today marks his 91st day in office, and he is accustomed to say he's not counting. In his short tenure here, St. Thomas University has seen and experienced and benefited from his bold and innovative leadership. There's new energy, new ideas, and a renewed sense of commitment to what has made this university so successful. And it has made an impact on the life of our students and our community. We are excited to have you here, President Armstrong. We're excited that you're taking the helm and lead here, and we believe that our future is very bright with you at the helm. You're committed to providing a value-based education in a time where higher education and value are under attack. President Armstrong believes passionately that a Catholic liberal arts education will not only prepare you for the future, but will mold you into leaders for life. Leaders that will have an impact on your local community, on the national community, and your international community. So it is my privilege and honor to present to you the person who is most fit to give you this address, President David A. Armstrong.
Good afternoon and welcome. Let's try that again. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Much better, much better. Welcome to our fourth STU Freshman Convocation. I want to thank Larry Treadwell for organizing today's convocation. I want to thank our faculty for their presence that means so much to our students. And I want to thank our students for being here, taking the time out to recognize this important event, which I'll talk about the significance of that in a second. But as a president, sometimes you get to make proclamations. And I'm going to do that right now. Nobody on my staff or the faculty knows I'm going to do what I'm going to do next. But there is a movement in the country to create more fairness. I struggle sometimes with ultra-political correctness. I think sometimes that divides more than it brings us together. But I am about fairness. And we should be gender neutral in this situation. So from now on, we need to say first years instead of freshmen. So next year will be the 5th annual first year convocation. What is the meaning of convocation? It's a large assembly. But it's a symbol, you first years are a symbol of replacing our graduating seniors from last May. That's what this event is all about. You processed in last, where when you go to graduate, you're going to process in first. And you processed in last because you're filling the chairs of those graduating seniors who just left. So it's very symbolic. And today I hope to give you some advice that will lead you to your commencement, to your graduation, and preferably in 4 years. But if it takes you 5 or 6, we're okay with that. As you graduate, but 4 years we prefer. There's no doubt that we live in challenging times. And I believe that there are answers to those challenges that we face. And I'm going to talk about three, I feel, potential answers to the challenging times we have. Balance, ethical leadership, and grit. Balance, ethical leadership, and grit. We have an election coming up. I'm going to be honest, I don't know about you, but I can barely watch TV with all the ads and all the things that are being said. I don't know if there's any communication, video type, newscaster type people out here, but I got probably a multi-billion-dollar idea for you. Someone needs to start a network where we just give the news. Right? Just give the news. That's all I want to hear. I just want the news. I don't need everybody else's commentary. Just give me the news. We are very fortunate that at my inauguration on March 20th, the week of our inauguration, we have a whole week long of festivities. We have a wonderful group of people, the inauguration committee, that are working so hard to make that a wonderful event for our students, faculty, staff, and our community here at St. Thomas University. And I'm happy to say that one of my favorite authors, Joshua Charles, will be here for the academic symposium on the first Monday of that week. He wrote one of my favorite books called Liberty Secrets, The Lost Wisdom of the American Founders. And this political time we live in was predicted by our founders. Low voter activity, low church membership, all these things that are happening now today, the rise of secularism, the less practice of religion. The founders believed that a self-governing republic, a self-governing citizenry of a republic must have two characteristics. Virtue, i.e. morality, knowledge, i.e. education. Virtue, the founders believed, came from morality, which is a moral code that must come from within, not from the government or anything external. It must come from within. For them, it was the practice of religion, whether as an organization or individually, is the best way to build a moral code. Knowledge, i.e. education. They believed in public education, they believed in private education, they believed in education. As Provost Garcia said in the beginning, education is under attack. People don't want to fund it. People don't believe it. They don't believe there's a return on investment. All those things are not true, but it is under attack. That's not good for our republic. We have a duty and an obligation to be engaged in our political process. So vote. I don't care what side you vote for. Vote. But James Madison in Federalist 10 talked about the evil of factions. How political parties can create factions where we go too far to one side or the other. So my new word that I use a lot these days is balance. Balance. In my opinion, you need to hear both sides. I believe consensus is a virtue. The art of politics is like the art of making sausage. I grew up next door to my best friend who was an Italian. His father made sausage in the basement. It was nasty, it was smelly, it was greasy. But when we would come home too late at night at 2 in the morning and he threw that on the grill, it was heaven. That's politics. It's messy, sometimes stinks, sometimes it's greasy, it's nasty. But if we come together, we compromise, we find great answers. We need balance today. And if you have balance, it will serve you well. Like a legal education, our law school, a true liberal arts education. In law, you must understand both sides. You must learn both sides, be able to argue both sides, and that leads to understanding. People always say these days, this is the worst political time of our lives, or of our country's history. No. In the 60s, they were trying to break into the Pentagon. People were being assassinated. In the 1800s, legislators were caning each other on the House floor. And of course, we had the Civil War. So we can get through these times, just like we've got through those much, much tougher times. And in my opinion, we don't have balance because we, in this country right now, lack ethical leadership. And that's what attracted me to St. Thomas University. Our mission. St. Thomas University is a Catholic university with rich cultural and international diversity, committed to the academic and professional success of its students, who go on to become ethical leaders in the global community. that doesn't describe St. Thomas, Miami, South Florida, and this area, and our country, I don't know what does. Many of you heard me talk about leadership before. My favorite definition of leadership, Lou Holtz, football coach. Okay, a leader must have vision. A leader must have a plan to implement that vision. A leader must lead by example. Fourth, a leader must find people that have the shared vision. Fifth, and this is the toughest one, a leader must hold people accountable to the plan. But there's another definition of leadership I like a lot, and it's one word. Yes. Yes, when times are tough, you answer and say yes and take the issue on. Yes, when people are in need, you take it on. Saying yes is an extremely powerful word, and it will take you on great paths. Accept opportunities and challenges. Say yes to that. What are businesses looking for? Your students that are going to college and university, you want to get a good job upon graduation. What are the businesses looking for? AAC&U did a major study several years ago. They went out to all the top corporations in the world and asked, what's the major that you're looking for? They were asking a certain question. What's the major you're looking for? The academic area. And they got a surprise answer back. It was not an academic area that these leaders were looking for. They were actually looking for students who can cross discipline, who can think critically, who can think analytically, who can communicate well, communicate effectively, write well, read well. But the most important, they said, is make ethical judgments with integrity. Make ethical judgments with integrity. So the question is, can you teach ethical leadership? And I believe at STU we are uniquely qualified to do so. I believe for years that to save the humanities and the liberal arts, we needed to be more in tune to corporations and businesses and what they're looking for, but at the same time keeping what we believe to be the best education. Here at St. Thomas University, we are a Catholic university. So theology, philosophy, ethics, those are courses that can be taught and learned, added with a quality liberal arts core curriculum, or as what I call the essential skills, English and history and arts, so that we can think critically, think analytically, communicate well, write well, read well. And then a good business core, so we know the core principles in business. And then take that program out to industries and be in tune to what they want. Ask those industries and those leaders, what classes do we need to teach for your future ethical leaders? We can do that. I've had a dream of that program for years, and I couldn't get it done until I became a president. And now I'm here. This is what we should be doing. But in the end, balance, ethical leadership, still not enough. Still not enough for what ails us today. You must have grit. There's a Pew study done recently that's in order to graduate college, especially students who come from first generation like I was, or tough socioeconomic backgrounds, or family situations, the two characteristics students need: hope and grit. You have to believe you can reach that brass ring. You have to believe, you have to have aspirations for the future. You have to believe that you can be something better. And then you have to be tough to go for it. And stick with it. Stick-to-itiveness. And it matches our history. The Augustinian priests that founded us in Havana, Cuba, were arrested, thrown in jail, and then thrown out of Cuba, and then started this college here that led to St. Thomas University. They had hope, most certainly, and they certainly had grit. Right now I'm reading my second favorite author besides Joshua Charles is Chernow. I liked Hamilton way before the play in that book. And now I'm reading Grant, Ulysses S. Grant, who was the leading general during the Civil War for the Union side and became a president. You must understand, Ulysses S. Grant was a failure. And Ulysses S. is not even his name. That actually happened when he was signing up for the Army, so he put S in his name, so then he just stuck with it. He was a failure. He left the Army, most likely because of his drinking, He failed at business, and at one point he was homeless. And his family was living with his in-laws. But Lincoln and Grant both said yes at a most crucial time in the history of our country and most likely the history of the world, since we're the longest running democracy. They said yes. They knew that the soul of the country had to be cleansed of slavery, that it wasn't just enough to win the war. It was about ending slavery. You must understand, Lincoln, throughout the whole war, was pressured even by his own party in order to win the next election to concede to the Union, to the Confederacy, and let them keep slavery so we could just end the war. Obviously, after 1863, in the Emancipation Proclamation, he decided no. Because as much as I said about balance, there are some things you never compromise on. Grant led the first ever division of black troops, escaped slaves and blacks from the North, and they served themselves well. And Lincoln was so proud to give them accommodations. But that came with great resistance. Great resistance. But they said yes. There's a great quote in the book from Colonel Alexander McClure. There was a point after the Battle of Shiloh where it was a brutal battle. And a lot of the Congress people and the people in the Union in the North were shocked by the brutality of that battle. So they wanted to remove Grant. At the same time, that was in the Western Front. In the Eastern battlefield, the War of the Potomac, the armies of the Potomac, Lincoln had McClellan and Halleck and these other generals who just weren't moving forward. But Grant would move forward. So McClure is trying to get Grant fired. And here's what he says. He tried to impress upon Lincoln, and I quote, "With all the earnestness I could command, the immediate removal of Grant as an imperious necessity to sustain himself. When I had said everything that I could have said from my standpoint, we both lapsed into silence. Lincoln remained silent for what seemed a very long time. He then gathered himself up in his chair and said in a tone of earnestness that I shall never forget. Lincoln said, 'I cannot spare this man. He fights.' Grant was called a butcher. He was called many things. But in the end, ethical leadership is about staying on a positive path where sometimes you have to make very, very tough calls. That's leadership. Leadership is not easy. Lincoln and Grant struggled with the lost lives that they had to put forth in battle. They struggled with that every night. It was not easy. We're talking thousands and thousands of people dying during every single battle. It's not easy. So why are these three answers, balance, ethical leadership, and grit, important to you today on your academic journey? Have balance in your education. And I would argue in your belief system. Question and learn the other side. That's the true Catholic intellectual tradition. We seek the answers no matter where they come from, knowing that God is at the center. That's the Catholic intellectual tradition. Try to understand others and understand other disciplines. And through that understanding, we can find balance. Second, be a leader. That's why you're here. Be a leader, make the right choices. Someone has invested in you and is counting on you now, or will count on you in the future. Start practicing being a leader now. Lead. And lastly, have some grit. Make the tough calls when others are making the wrong choices. When people want to go party and a test is tomorrow, make the tough call. It's easy to go along, isn't it? Make the tough call. Study for that test, take that test. And then if you need to celebrate because you did great after that, okay. But let's do it after that. And this is very important, in your academic journey, I'm talking to my group over here. Hello? Over here. Pay attention. Thank you. In your academic journey, take classes out of your comfort zone. Take classes out of your comfort zone and out of your field of choice. Challenge yourself. And we all know that some classes have more reading and writing and or are considered harder than others. That's just the nature of it. I teach classes. Some classes I teach are not as tough as some others. Well, I'm going to give you some advice here. Take the tough classes with lots of reading and writing. Take the tough classes that will challenge you. You will appreciate the toughest courses as you progress in your career. As a matter of fact, it will be one of the main reasons why you progress in your career. It's because you took the toughest classes. And lastly, most important, live our mission. Thank you for this honor today, and I look forward to serving you upon your graduation and beyond. God bless you and live out.
All right, here's your test. What were the 3 points in President Armstrong's speech? Start. Balance, ethical leadership, and grit. By the way, one of the best books you'll ever read, bestseller for a year, is by Angela Duckworth. It is entitled Grit. Okay, now I would like the class of 2022 to please stand. Now, all of you have already put your hats on. If you haven't, put your caps on. And your tassel should be on the right-hand side, like the right-hand side, opposite to where it is in mine. The day you graduate, 4 years from now, put it on the right-hand side. The tassel on the right. Everybody got it? Practice now for 4 years from now. 4 years from now, at commencement, when you graduate, when you're conferred your degrees, they will tell you to move your tassel from the right-hand side to the left-hand side. Remember that. We are committed to your success, class of 2022. My door is always open. Your success is our success. Enjoy your new journey. Make the most out of it. There's never been a better time to be a Bobcat, and go Bobcats.
I want all the students to remain standing, please, so we can take a great look at you. And the reason that I say we want to take a great look at you is because we want to look into your soul. Last night, as the sun was setting in Miami Beach, I had the privilege of joining almost several thousand people at the Holocaust Museum. And there, we prayed as a very diverse group for those 11 who were killed in Pittsburgh, simply to worship. Jews who had gone to synagogue. Those participating came from every walk of life. There were those who had actually suffered in the prison camps of the Nazis. There were those who have suffered because of who they are, what they look like, where they come from, what language they speak. But what was so strong last night were the words that stood behind us on the stage. And it said, "Love is stronger than hate." love is stronger than hate. So in 4 years from now, 4 years, the day that you graduate, I want you to look into your own soul, and I want you to be able to say, in my soul, I know that I have lived love, and it is certainly much stronger than hate. And now I ask everyone to please stand. May the Lord bless you and keep you, his light shine upon you, be gracious to you, and give you his peace. From the rising of the sun to the setting, may the name of the Lord be blessed, and we say, Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Monsignor Hogan. I'd like to thank everyone who helped organize this event, senior administration, faculty, and of course the students. This is an event for you. So thank you for coming to our 4th annual first year convocation. Before everybody leaves, students, please remain at your seat as the platform party, the senior administration and faculty process out, and then you will follow them. And as a special guest for you, treat, we have some refreshments for you outside the library. So please, I know that's what you all are waiting for at lunchtime, and you can barely wait. I was a college student once too. So thank you very much. Excuse me. And I wish you all a happy and safe Halloween.